On the Air Force Base, they didn't go for all that. You know?
Different world.
Yeah.
Did you form any lasting friendships while you were in the military?
Yes. Matter of fact, I had two lasting. The last relationship, or the one that lasted longest, was a friend. He lives in New Orleans, and I kind of lost track of him just before the tsunami. I used to call him periodically, see how he was doing. I think he'd only been to Michigan once in his life. He'd say he'd never want to come because it was too cold. He didn't even own an overcoat. But he had done very well. I think he became a school principal because at that time, when we were in the service, he had finished, I think Rob had finished college at that time. And he was a school principal, and I think he had two sons, and one, I believe, was a prosecutor in New Orleans. But I haven't heard from him recently, and often I think about him. Maybe I should try to call the old number that I had. The other friend that I had, he was from a small town just outside of Cincinnati. And he went to Mexico. He wanted to be a doctor. So he went to Michigan State and he got his bachelor's. And Walter went to Mexico to med school. And I never saw him anymore after that, but we were very close when we were in the service. We used to go to Paris together a lot. Because we had the things that we shared, like music, things of that nature. We got along very well, he and I did. But I need to try to find him.
Have you considered going into the computer possibly and
I have, but,
him up?
Right, but I don't do it. There's a lot of things I intend to do, but I don't do it.
Okay. Another way you can do it too is through the Red Cross.
I can?
Yes.
Okay. Because I know I understand he's in San Diego. Mm-hmm. That's where he lives. Uh-huh.
If he has any affiliations with the military at all, they'll find him for you.
Okay.
Okay. When you returned to the States, did you return to Fort Dix? Or what did you...
Yes. No, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. I know we came in and we had to wait till the next morning to get off the ship because when we came in, the Statue of Liberty was like over here. The next morning, it was on the other side of the ship. It turned around. I remember that. But I don't remember whether I came back into Fort Dix or not. I'm not sure. Probably didn't pay it that much attention. So glad to get back.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why I should have been glad to get back home because I was enjoying myself where I was. So.
Were you mustered out immediately, or did you stay in service for a while after?
No, I came home. Then I went to Fort Sheridan in Chicago, and yes, I got mustered out there. Then I came home, and see, I was working for Chrysler at DeSoto at that time. Went on right down Warren, Wyoming. Went back to work. I hated that place. I just could not stand it. After being in the service, it was too confining. It smelled. I just left. I quit, and Lloyd Jones, he was working at Northfield State Hospital at that time. So he said, why don't you come out there and get a job? Oh, it's a nice place to work. So, okay. So I went out there, and I worked at Northfield State Hospital for about 12 years. And at that time, I was going to school. I went back to school. See, I never finished high school. But I did go back and to get a GED because I went to Cass. And I really enjoyed going to Cass because I had a teacher there that taught English, and she was very, very good. I knew nothing about English grammar at all. And that lady used to hit me. But I learned so much from her. I really appreciated her as a teacher. And after that, I went on to, went to work at, like I said, Northfield State Hospital. Then I went to school in the mornings. I went to DIT, but I had a problem with my social life. I didn't hit the books a lot. I spent a lot of time up on McGraw at the Man Grill. We just had a good time. Because I was living at home, paid a little room and board there, and I'm working. I had a new car. I didn't say anything I wanted.
When you were overseas, did you do a lot of corresponding back home?
Not a lot.
A lot of phone calls?
No, I never called back. Never called. I'd write every time I think about it. But no, I never called. And I know some of the guys some of the guys never went off the base.
missed. So you were released from service at Fort Sheridan. Fort Sheridan, and then how did you from Fort Sheridan? What did you take a bus home or?
One of the guys from Detroit. He was either from Detroit or somewhere around Detroit. He had a car, so he brought us all home. He drove back from Fort Sheridan.
Did you?
Wait a minute. Yeah. He drove. Yeah, that's how we came back home. He was in a car. I remember he let me off on Warren and the Boulevard, and I walked home.
How were you received once you got home? As a conquering hero, or?
No, yeah, that's all big, no big deal. Yeah.
What year did you come out?
1950.
So you went in 51, forgot out 51?
Went in 52. I only had to do 2 years.
2 years. Right. Mm-hmm. Give us some life experiences. Tell us what did you learn by having been in the military?
What did I learn? Well, I took advantage of everything that they offered veterans. I bought a 4-family apartment building, which I still have. Been very good to me. I was able to utilize the GI Bill to go to school. I still have my veterans insurance. Very few people I know have it. Pays excellent dividends, and they're not taxable. I think I kind of regret not staying in the reserve, because I said if I stayed in the reserve, I could have been getting another pension. But I don't know if that's kind of selfish or not.
Sound like you did quite well. These experiences. Do you have any lessons you'd like to pass on to anybody well, I think you've already covered it pretty much, haven't you? Okay.
I don't know. See, going into the service now, I don't know what it's like. I think in looking at the military channel, they got it made. I mean, it's not the war that they're fighting is the enemy almost doesn't have a chance. I mean, they got night vision. They can tell where he is. The people that, but yet they can't really do anything with the enemy. That's the thing I don't understand. He can't compete with them. Like you see a guy in Iraq going down the street, he's got a machine gun mounted on the back of a pickup truck. And that's insanity when you get the guy that's got a tank or whatever other piece of mechanized equipment he's got. But they still can't handle him. That's the thing I don't really understand.
It's a different time. It's a different time, isn't it? Okay. So I guess you pretty much covered it, Lloyd. I think I've asked you pretty much the questions that, unless you'd like to have something to pass on to future generations in your family that will see your recording or your videotape.
Well, I think that going into the service is a good experience. I'm not so sure whether or not I would even bother to go now, because I don't understand the war or the reasons why there is a war. So, but at that time I didn't even question it. That was the first thing in my mind. I was drafted, so was everybody else. So we just went. But at 20 years old, you think it's a lot different then it is at 77.
True. Well, Lloyd, we really appreciate you coming in, and I think we've learned a lot from you. I certainly enjoyed the interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.